Hello, I'm Chris, and this is how to play my game Bombers Away, for those of you who don't like reading. So this game is for 5 to 9 players, so in order to play it, you're going to need some friends. I have 4 friends here, so I'm going to set up a 5-player game. The item deck is set up for 5 players, and I'm going to deal 2 item cards to each player. The item deck contains 5 bomb cards, 2 diffuser cards, and 8 gold cards for 5 players. Likewise, you're going to set up the roll deck. This is going to have 2 bombers, 2 bystanders, and the police roll card. Make sure you keep the disarmed police roll card separate from the roll deck. We'll get to that. And give one of those to each player. So each player has the roll card and the 2 item cards, but there's one more thing we need to do. Follow me. So we take the disarmed police card and the item deck, and we're going to have to scooch into this room over here. We're going to place the item deck somewhere visible along with the disarmed police roll card. Both of these are going to be face down. And then we go back to our friends. So this game is a hidden roles game. There are 2 teams, the bomber team and the bystander team. The bomber team wants to try to plant a bomb card into the item deck over there without getting caught by the police. The bystander team really fancies not getting blown up right now, so they're trying to stop that from happening. Luckily, there are diffusing cards in the item deck, which should be able to help them out. So each player gets 1 turn in this game. During your turn, you are going to choose a player to drag into the other room with you and spectate your action. So whilst the poor spectator you've dragged in here sort of stares at you, you get to take your action. Now, regardless of what team you are on, there are 3 basic actions you can take. Firstly, you can take a draw action. You draw a card from either the top of the deck or the top of the discard pile if there is one and put it into your hand. Then you can choose a card from your hand and place it either into the discard pile face up, on top of the deck, or onto the bottom of the deck. Secondly, you can swap item cards with the spectator. Thank you, those are mine. You are not having those anymore. And lastly, there is give action. So Polar Bear here, I could choose to take the action instead of me. In this instance, Polar Bear here is saying that he has a diffuser card in his hand, and he's definitely wanting to put it into the deck. So for some reason, I believe him, and I've given him the action. However, Polar Bear is actually a bomber, and he can choose to reveal his bomber card to me to instead take one of 3 special bomber actions. The first bomber action that Polar Bear could choose is forcing me to reveal my item cards. Polar Bear then takes one from me and gives an item card of his own. So in this case, Polar Bear looks like that he really wants my bomb card, so he has taken it from me. Then, after every bomber action, you get to take a draw action. So Polar Bear is probably going to draw a card from the deck and place a bomb into the bottom. The second action that Polar Bear could choose from is to force me to reveal my roll card. So I am the police, and since I was the police, I swap my roll card with the disarmed police card. So now I am disarmed, which means I don't get to take down any bombers at the end of the game. If I had any roll card other than the police card, then obviously I wouldn't get disarmed and I would just reveal my card to Polar Bear. Then Polar Bear takes a draw action, as you do after every bomber action. The last action Polar Bear could choose is to draw from the bottom of the item deck instead of the top. Polar Bear can draw a card from the bottom item of the item deck and then discards one of their cards in their hand. Then, Polar Bear takes a draw action. It will probably help new players to have the list of actions from the instruction booklet in this room, so all the players always know what actions are available to take. Then, once an action has been taken, we have to drag them back into the room and return to our friends. So me and Polar Bear are back to where we were originally seated. Now it's the player on the left's turn. Once every player has taken a turn, then it's the end of the game. So at this point it is the end of the game, and whoever is the police reveals themselves. Then the police chooses which players they think are bombers. Now this is open discussion, you can talk, lie, do whatever, but the police gets the final choice. So whatever players are chosen, reveal their cards. Oof, unlucky. So if the police had chosen both bombers, then none of the bombers have gotten away with it and the bystander team wins. However, even if just one bomber has gotten away, then there's one last thing we need to do before we determine who wins. If during the course of the game the police has been disarmed at any point, they don't get to choose any bombers and you move on immediately to the next phase. Okay, so since at least one of the bombers has gotten away with it, we need to check the item deck to see if there is an active bomb in the deck. If there is a bomb card in the deck which is not adjacent to a diffuser, then it is active and the bomber team wins. I hope you've enjoyed this how to play video. Now I'm not one to tell you how exactly to play. As you can see, there's going to be millions of strategies that you could use individually, but I'm going to give you a few pointers to get you on the right track. If you are the police, you are going to want to stay quiet, because if the bombers realise that you're the police, then you're going to get disarmed, and suddenly the bombers can do whatever they like without any repercussions. If you're on the bystander team, remember, information is important. You're going to want to try to know as many cards in the item deck as possible. A simple way to do this is to put cards into the discard pile to thin the deck out and make it as small as possible and easy to remember. And remember, diffusers are your friend, but there are only a limited amount of them, so if the bombers are hiding them in their hand, you're not going to have much of a chance. So you probably might want to keep the fact you have a diffuser quiet, so the bombers don't steal it from you. And if you are on the bomber team, the most important thing is that you have to act. Remember, you are probably only going to get one action in this entire game, so you have to do something, even if you reveal yourself as a bomber to do it. And remember, even if you are only the spectator as a bomber, you can still cause confusion. You can lie as the spectator, make people think that they're the bomber. You're going to want to create as much suspicion and confusion as possible, so no one really knows who is who and who's done what. Well, thank you very much for listening. If you made it this far, be sure to check out my Kickstarter campaign, and I'm looking forward to you guys playing this game. Thanks very much.